This was basically a war where China didn't really want to see either side win. They're at the moment making the most out of the manner and nature of the US withdrawal. They're trying to sell a story at the moment right now that is essentially, when you find yourself on the other side of the line of US redefinition of its vital interests, you too could find yourself abandoned, and so it's better off that you come to terms with us. That's been particularly directed in China's immediate neighborhood in Asia. But they didn't want to see the Taliban win either. Although they have a long-standing relationship with the Taliban going back to the last time they were in power, they've never found an Islamist movement of this nature to be something that they're remotely comfortable dealing with. They still see Taliban providing a permissive environment for the militant groups that China is most concerned about. At least the manner of this victory meant that it didn't have kind of catastrophically immediate destabilizing effects across the entire region, but they still worry that groups such as the TPP, the Pakistani Taliban, will be able to operate with greater facility in Afghanistan in future, and will have the capacity to hit projects and Chinese personnel as well. There are vast numbers now of kind of Chinese workers, Chinese tourists, much bigger embassies. I mean, China's presence is just much larger in a whole host of different places. And if you look at the kind of problematic attacks, which do resonate in different ways domestically, you know, can China protect its people overseas? What does it have to do if it can't protect its people overseas? You look at the attacks in Pakistan, you look at things like the Erewhon Shrine bombing, you look at embassies that have been here. These, I think, are the more immediate concerns that China has. China sees Afghanistan as kind of a trap. They are obsessed with the graveyard of empires concept, but they literally see some of it through the concept of a strategic trap, even one that may be kind of mounted deliberately by the United States. That part of the drawdown as well was now the mess will be left for us to clean up. This is often the attitude. And there's been all these points in which the US has encouraged China to take a more active role. And the view on the Chinese side has always been, this is an attempt to lure us into making the same mistakes that you've made as they see it. So there's a lot of wariness about deeper involvement, certainly militarily. They've conducted kind of minimal counter-terrorist paramilitary type activities in Badakhshan, for instance, that they did with the cooperation of the Afghan government then. But even that I would see as rather difficult in the new circumstances. But when it comes to the kind of depth of political involvement and economic involvement, I think the sense is still that they need to tread quite carefully. The really big projects, like that copper mine, for instance, or even the kind of expansive forms of infrastructure connections and things that you might see under the Belt and Road, I think there's a lot more trepidation. I think they know that to be able to actually extract economic benefits from these things, the political and security context needs to be stable for a pretty long arc. And I think if it is, they may revisit this question. But I think what they'll do is they'll dangle a lot of kind of, there's a lot more that we can do. Here's the big investment package that can come in and all these sorts of things, partly as a way of exercising leverage over the Taliban. I think this kind of story that China has is quite important for the way that it projects power as well. But I think in practical terms in Afghanistan, they're going to tread quite warily.